Scotty, beam me up.
Smash.
Get over here! It is pointless to resist.
All right. Welcome to the Geek Den. We have Crashing Atlas with us. And Jason's going to lead this one because he has so many amazing questions. So we're just going to jump right into it. I've been hearing his questions since this morning, and everything he's come up with is gold.
It was the second that I found out about this. I got super excited, hyper fixated, and just started digging in.
We're excited. Thank you guys for having us. Appreciate you.
No, well, I mean, thanks for making the time to come on. Especially, I think, as we were talking about early, you guys seriously have packed a lot of shows into a very short period of time.
Yeah.
At least for, I mean, is this the first time you guys have gone out? Second, multiple times?
I've been out with I think we've all been out with previous bands on runs before, but this is since we dropped our new album Black Sky Sunrise last year, this is the first time since COVID we've really been able to go out and support the show, support the album, and go out and play some of these new songs in front of some fans, which has been great.
We've had a bunch of one-offs too, where we'll drive to Jersey, or we'll drive out of state. But this is we've had a bunch of those, but this is the first time we're going a couple weeks,
right?
Just cramming as much as we can.
At least with us as us as a group. So we're definitely really excited for it and appreciative to be back out on the road, and happy to see people out there still rocking out to live music.
That's gotta feel good. I mean, that has to feel good. I know that going to a show feels great. So my assumption is that actually being able to play one's got to be an absolute blast.
Especially after everything that's been going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was a tough couple of years before, because aside from us obviously being musicians, we're huge fans of just going to see bands as well. So on both ends of that, we were definitely struggling a bit throughout the quarantine.
Yeah.
When you guys have been playing, on this, you said the Black Sky Summer Tour, yeah? You guys have been playing, as mentioned, quite a lot. Are you headlining every show? Is it always?
Some of them.
It's a mix. It's been, I'd say 60-30, 70-30. Is that the right amount?
We headline.
That adds up to 100.
We headline a bunch.
Right.
A few days ago, we played in New York. We were the opening act. It just it depends the night. We're playing as I'm sure you've seen at the end of our tour, we're doing Rockfest. Obviously, we're headlining. Mudvayne and Shinedown will be there, and they said, "Look, Crashing Atlas, we're big, but come on, let's get you up there.
We want you guys to perform early."
And we're very humble, even though we're so huge. We're like, no, we'll play the side stage, and we're going to be playing in the beer tent over there.
I want to give some of these young up and coming bands their shot.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it for you. So it's not for us; it's for you.
Yeah,
that's great. All right. So it's been a 60-30 split. Have you guys gotten to play with anybody that you were like? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure I have no doubt in my mind you enjoyed playing with everybody you played with, but was there anybody you were just absolutely stoked about? Was there anything that was this was?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think for us as artists, I know I'm not gonna speak for Paul. I know Paul's a huge fan of Mudvayne, and I know he's been super excited about that. But I actually think playing in the music scene for as long as I have, there's definitely been kind of shows where it's you'll have some openers that are but we've been very lucky this entire tour. Every band we've had, it's been an absolute honor to share the stage with them. We had a lot of friends come out when we were up in Jersey, which was great. We get to see some familiar faces. But very thankful, and shout out to if any of the bands are listening now. It's been awesome rocking the stage with y'all.
Yeah.
And it's got to be wonderful, at least I would imagine, being able to actually play a show.
Seeing that even some newer bands who maybe there was one of the bands we played with called Coming in Clutch that it was only their second show together as a band, and so just seeing up in bands that are out there and kind of coming out of the big COVID break, still coming out swinging and seeing new original artists is always such a great thing to see.
Yeah, we got to we've opened for people and so forth, and like, you know, getting to see Mudvayne live I got to see Mudvayne live like a year ago when I think they announced they were only playing like 4 or 5 or 6 shows, and people didn't know if it was just like a one-time thing or if they're making a comeback. So me and my buddy made sure to get tickets to see them now, you know, 6-10 months.
Man, you're actually smiling. Look at that.
Going to see them play. But like also, you know, we got, just to answer your question a little more specifically, I thought it was really cool. We got to play with Palisades. I thought it was just insane seeing them live. They were
they put on a clinic when it comes to just good.
There's a bunch of cool people we played with, but at least for me, that was one of the coolest. Also, like, I thought opening for Last in Line was really cool. Just all the members there are so amazing. I mean, we were talking about super groups before the start. They're just another super group, but well, not just they're fucking amazing. Yeah, and getting to see them live was very cool.
And we're actually the venue we got to open for them last time is actually where we're going to be, not tomorrow, but the day after. So excited to be back at Decibels on the Rocks out in Portage, Indiana. Yeah.
I think the fact that you guys are, I mean, what? Not to get overly personal, I'm curious. What's the average age?
Oof. It, you know,
average age of our fans.
You guys, yeah, it doesn't have to be specific. Just give me a roundabout.
Oh, I'm like 30, 33, I think.
Yeah.
Sound right?
Yeah, he's 33, I'm 31, Dougie's 34, and Marina's a little younger. She's 24, 25.
Yeah.
You guys literally have a whole lifetime to keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say, like,
awesome.
after you hit 30, every I don't know if our equipment's just getting heavier or our backs are getting worse.
I think my back has about 6 more weeks left in this lifestyle.
I feel like my back is in its 70s, even though like my spirit is in its 20s.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, the first time I ever ended up playing a festival where somebody set my drums up, I felt like a king.
Oh my, yeah.
Honestly, the whole way I was like, this is it. I made it. Yep. By the way, the sound was terrible. Played like absolute shit.
We always joke around every time after we're done playing, we're cleaning up and stuff. Like, best part of the night.
Yeah, we're hauling our own gear. You know, we are our own roadies.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, having someone like, you know, once in a while someone will help us, and anytime, the number of times that I've set up my entire drum set by myself, whenever someone helps me with even one single like stand, I'm like,
feels amazing, right?
Yes.
Now these guys are great. They help me, but it's
wait till he sees the bill we send him. It's gonna be a roadie fee is not cheap.
Yeah, I know.
It's coming. It hasn't gotten there yet, but it's like some random dude. There'd be one guy who's like, "Hey, you dropped a stick. You're gonna get charged."
I'll give you the employee discount.
Thanks, bud.
So that's you guys. The album that you just released, I guess, is releasing or has been released.
About a year. Is it June 18th. June 18th.
So, I guess were it not for COVID, you guys would have hit this much earlier.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a funny story around that. We started writing it right around the COVID lockdown. We were like kind of dipping our toes into writing before, but after the lockdown happened, that's when we all kind of looked at each other and said, there's no distractions, nothing else going on. Let's sit down, let's focus, and let's write an album. And thankfully for the way technology is now, and the fact that everyone in the band knows how to do like some degree of production, we were able to actually write the whole album during the lockdown. And then when things were opening back up later in the summer, we were able to actually get in and track everything and get it all mixed and mastered and you know, start that process.
Studio was the first time we ever got to play any of these songs. I live in an apartment. I had to learn all these songs just tapping my fingers or like, and you know, playing on a pillow maybe. So like getting in the studio is the first time I ever actually got to play drums to these songs. And it was
not to
by the
keep
time
going off,
that was my first time playing forever. Like, this feels good. Yep. Yeah. But we wrote everything remotely just from our rooms, and we would send songs back and forth. And you know,
that's, you know, what's crazy is we were talking about this with another band that was on a while ago. That might very well be the future of production for an album. I mean, it's just,
I think so.
It works.
Yeah, no, honesty.
Like over the past 2 years, it definitely changed some stuff. It made stuff industry standard.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yep.
People have done amazing things, you know
There's
what I mean?
positives and negatives to it. Like, you know, positives is you technically can do it. Negative though, it's sometimes it helps to have multiple people in a room working together. Sometimes it can actually slow things down. But
so something I think that's helped a lot is just it's a lot more affordable to do good pre-production writing at home, and a lot of the tools available, like whether it's drum plugins or things being able to run on lower power computers and stuff, it just made it very accessible. And I think anyone that has a laptop and you can actually start recording without having to sink too much money into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can literally line straight into a laptop.
Yep.
If you really wanted to. I mean, you could do almost anything.
Yep. Yeah.
God,
yeah, which is great for writing and, you know, trying to work on stuff remotely and send ideas. So that was like one of the biggest hurdles when it came to writing, but I think it's something we actually adapted to pretty well,
right.
Which is, I think, why we came out of the pandemic as strong as we did with an album, as opposed to just saying, whatever, we'll get to it when everything's open up. Let's just take 6 months off or 2 years off or,
yeah.
The videos, by the way, were enjoyable.
Oh, thank you.
I think I referred to it as going down the rabbit hole. I mean, like, legitimately, the song Kerosene was what was attached to the promo material, and that's immediately drew to that. And then obviously YouTube algorithm, and the next thing I know, I've got an entire backlog of everything that's been recorded and released.
Awesome.
And they were good songs. They're definitely pull you in. I mean, it's good stuff. The production value, by the way, you mentioned all of you have some type of production knowledge. Who mixed it down? Because, man, that song is super balanced. Like, it is really.
We were very lucky with the mixing. And we worked with Sam Guayana up in, I think he's up in Toronto, but he mixed some Silverstein stuff. So when we were like shopping around for mixers, we saw him. We're like, okay, let's work with Sam. It sounds great. Yeah. And then we got everything sounded good before it was mixed, but when we got it back, it was like, whoa, this sounds great.
Yeah, for sure. I think we were in talks with Andrew Wade, who did A Day to Remember, but then we ended up going with Sam, and we were super thrilled with his work. He was great. He was quick. He got the job done.
Oh, he did great work.
And there was, just he sent us everything. There was usually we're just like, all right, this is good, and maybe only like a few times we had edits like, hey, this, and this, maybe modify. And then
we can be pretty picky. So
yeah,
his stuff right off the bat was just really good.
Yeah.
Sam is we actually went to a couple different mixers at first, and we were not Andrew Way. We didn't actually go. We were just talking to him, but some of the other guys we tried out first. We just weren't happy, and it kind of discouraged me. I'm like, oh, how good is this thing going to sound? Then we send it to Sam, and all of a sudden it comes back with this huge sound. We're like, brilliance, absolute brilliance.
There.
I was like, the other ones, it was just night and day.
Not a lot of time. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, there is a professional aspect to production where if you get somebody who knows what they're doing, it's going to come back balanced. But I mean, like this.
Yeah.
To me, it was the one thing that really stood out was the fact that everything, like drums, bass, guitar, everything, the vocals, all of it was so balanced. Nothing overpowered. Things rose where they were supposed to and dropped where they were supposed to. Like it's a really good quality production.
Yeah, we spent a long time on the writing process too. I'm going to talk some more about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, going back, we were talking about how we did everything, remotely at first. Each song we took like really a lot of time. Nick would write a guitar part, then he would say, hey Paul, write some drums over it. I'd send it back, and then we'd be like, we'd tweak things back and forth, and send it to Dougie, send it to Marina, she'd throw some lyrics on it. And then it was one time, once you change here, then you got to change this part, then you got to change this part. It's a lot until all of a sudden you have this, you're like your baby, and doing that 8-10 times, however many times.
And it helps that everyone's like a multi-instrumentalist in band.
Yeah, like we all had a lot of different input. I'm obviously like primarily writing the drums, but doesn't mean that Nick and like Doug and Marina didn't have like a big say in things. Sometimes they would even write parts, and I would just tweak little things. I'd be using, like they'd write almost the majority of it. Then I'd add like the little bit of salt and pepper to make it,
Oh, so you were getting full on percussive notes for stuff then? Like you were just like flat out like, this is the idea. This is kind of what you go under. That's kind of cool too. I mean, just being able to get that without somebody be like, try a bubba.
Yeah, and shout out to Felix who did our engineering. He was very good about like, hey, try this.
Right. It was like I would do a lot of writing on my own. I would spend a lot of time going note for note, make sure everything's perfect. Sometimes Nick would send me something. Sometimes it would just be I would write something, Nick would write something, or Doug would write something. But then the studio, our producer says, hey, okay, that's all right, but what if you try this instead? And then, oh, that's a good idea.
Just made everything better.
Yeah, and it was like a really big collaborative process, and the same could be said with guitars, bass, vocals. There were always notes going back and forth.
It truly was like a completely collaborative effort.
Yeah, and it takes
So
a lot of.
That's the same for just the writing process in general. Does that include the lyrics?
Yeah,
everything.
Every single thing. And it really, after doing it, it's something where you can really see how important it is to be able to like work nice with others and stuff. Because at the end of the day, like when you're writing a song, it takes a lot of trial and error. A lot of ideas are going to get shut down, and you have to be able to convey what's good, convey what's bad, without hurting someone's feelings or whatever. And everyone kind of having each other's fingers in each other's parts,
and just trusting the team too. Like, right, if Paul has an opinion, it's not like it's really easy to get defensive about ideas, but like, trust your team around you. If they think it could be better, lean on it.
That type of working relationship is incredible. Like that. I mean, that's a serious.
That sounds like amazing chemistry. That's.
Yeah, it took time to figure out like how to. That was our first time. We've all written little things here and there, but this was our as a first time all working together. So we had to kind of work on the fly and figure out very quickly how to not waste our own time. Get our best input.
That's a perfect way to put that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, most of Craig and I probably come from more of a just a solid DIY punk rock background. Like you're talking hopefully an 8-track recorder and somebody who's got a decent mic. You know what I mean? It was like the good majority, like anything I ever recorded on was always like, we're going to do the song 3 times, take the best out of the 3 and call it done.
Yeah, that's punk.
That was literally every band I've ever been in. That was when we recorded, that was the way that we did it. I mean, it worked for us, but then again, we also weren't, quite frankly, we weren't putting together intricate melodies.
It's tough. I've done 1-track recordings where you do it start to finish. I think we probably did it like 5, 6, 7 times, but it's like you have to by that last time, you better be nailing it on the click. You better be good. You better be tight. You better be playing the right part. If you have that one error, it's like you're not going back. So
no, and I think it's like when we put a ton of work in before going in the studio too, on the pre-production side, and we really try our best to go in with songs that we think sound great, and then when we get in the studio, it's not as much like chaos going on, and we have like an idea of what we're doing.
Which is, it's made, at least from what I'm understanding, it's made more impressive by the fact that if you guys legitimately, y'all didn't, like you were saying when you recorded, that was really the first time you guys got to be together to do so.
Yep.
That's actually more, to me, impressive. Because, I mean, seriously, not being able to get, at least a running start at something like that. I mean, as he guys, I mean, like I said, that song stands out. That one song. I mean, the other songs stand out too, but just that one is because I guess it was in the material.
that song was the one song I think all of us, everyone, when you come out of the studio with 10 songs or however many,
right?
Everyone has their different favorites and ones they may prefer over the other. That one was in everyone's top 3,
top 2 or 3. Yeah,
that's understandable. I mean, it's understandable.
We also put it as the first song for a reason. Multiple reasons. One, we wanted the first. I don't know if you ever check out the full album. It's the first thing you hear is that those open hi-hats. It's that shred guitar.
Yeah,
riff.
we wanted it to be a right in your face right off the bat. Boom.
It succeeds in that.
Catch you.
Yeah, exactly. We all really liked that song, and it was also one of the first. It was one of the first ones that we really had a demo even going for.
Yeah, that was one throughout the whole process. We were like, this is going to be one of the stronger songs.
Yeah, this was I think the first one that I think this was the first one that I wrote a full drum part up to.
I think you're right.
It was.
Yeah, I was going to guess
that was one process even itself.
That was So I mean, so it's basically, if you had a baby off the album, this is the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of baby. They're all our baby in our own way, honestly.
But that's just a really good, fast.
Oh no, I get that too. But every parent will. This is broken down to a favorite kid.
They're all our babies.
This,
really are.
This baby, this is the baby that came out with a green mohawk and rocking the rocker.
Yeah.
A leather baby jacket.
Yeah.
That's that baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, Greg, did you have? Sorry, I thought you were about to ask something.
No.
I actually, as far as the tour goes, when you guys are playing in Indianapolis tomorrow.
Yep.
Is that right? So you guys
Hoosier
Dome, right? You guys are going on. How many are you? Is this another one of the multi-local bands opening up, kind of a thing, or is it?
I think this is a 3-band setup tomorrow, where we're going to be going second. Yes, which is a really cool slot because it's like you get in,
that was actually one of my
a lot of
questions.
people are hanging around. Yeah, I always like the slot sometimes.
I was literally like, what is your favorite place to play? It's not always headlining. People assume it's headlining, but it isn't always.
It depends on like the makeup of the bands. Like sometimes some of the openers have been really good about making sure they hang out for the whole time, and there's other times where you know the opener, if you're playing super late, it's like, oh, I got to get to bed early or I got work tomorrow, especially on like some of the weekdays, and it's a little harder to play late. So we're almost happy with it. And then the advantage of opening is once you're done, you can hang out, enjoy the music, have a few drinks, not have to worry about having to get back on stage. And just
that was always my favorite thing. I mean, it's an enjoyable moment. I mean, you can also decide whether or not you really want to be there anymore, which not to be a dick.
Yeah, so for early, middle, or end,
pros and cons. There's pros and cons to both. Yeah.
You guys, that was, I don't know. I'm still like, I'm honestly, I know we already talked about it. I'm having a hard time getting my head around. Like, so playing live, if you guys recorded, like the first time you ever really played together was when you were actually recording the album. And then, I mean, granted, you've had time. I'm sure there's been practices, but it's still like, I don't know. It's like, maybe this is the future of, like, it's
yeah, you know, we hear so many stories coming out of like quarantine of bands that are just, you know, going total DIY and doing their own thing. Like a couple bands we talked to in the past, you know, they've done the same thing where they just kind of ship each other like segments of music and just one guy edits it all together.
And sometimes it's nice because it can be a little chaotic. Like there's good and sides to doing it all in the same room together or shipping stuff back and forth. For me personally, I like to be able to take my time, and so I'll, on top of doing the guitar stuff, I'll do some of the synth and production work on the album too. Like, so being able to like work on some of that and on your own time and be able to sit down and focus when you're not spending studio time doing it, and be able to kind of get your ideas together beforehand, I think is a good idea for bands looking to get into the studio. Like go in with as much as you can. But there was definitely a time after even the album came out, we're getting ready for our first set of shows where we had to go back and almost relearn the songs a bit and say, okay, how do we do this? What tuning do we do it in? Because when you're in the studio, sometimes you'll work on song number 1 for half the day and then switch over to this song. And it's very like all over the place.
Yeah, this is literally like, this is a thing that we've been hearing. That is legitimately like something. It's, I mean, but it is.
It's awesome to see, though. It really is. Like so many bands are doing it, like so many creative things in so many different ways. You know.
Yep.
Like
and just to make how bands are going to Twitch and stuff now too. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every decision you make has a risk associated with it, right? It's just like running any business. Like you can put your time and effort here, you can put your time and effort here, and you gotta kind of hope for the best. Hopefully, you're making the right moves, right? We definitely. At first, you're right. Like we didn't rehearse at all. Yet we still like did our homework. We still learning the music, and it's sometimes you as if you're like a session musician, some guy's gonna hit you up, say, hey, can you play tonight? You've never seen the set list, and you only know half the music.
Yeah.
And you got to learn music fast, and maybe you're at work. You don't have a guitar in your hands. You don't have drums. You got your ears. It just goes, there's a lot of ear training involved, and there's a lot of listening. And, in writing music, you can have a classical approach, like a composition approach where you use your music degree, or you can do what we did. And, it's not that we don't understand music and we aren't music literate. We are all music literate. But a lot of it is like ear. It's like thinking in your head. It's brainstorming. It's like what works, examining other songs that exist, trying to create something in your head, bouncing ideas off others. It's a big process, and there's no wrong way to do it, but you kind of have to hope whatever you choose to do is going to be a smart expenditure.
Also, when you're in the studio too, things can change all the time. There's been times we've totally thrown away chunks and parts, and you got to be able to think on your feet and be reactive to if the engineer's like, hey, let's try more of a lead more like this, or maybe let's try doing something halftime here instead of full time. And I think you probably got the worst of it when it came to like curveball.
Yeah, probably. Oh, yeah. I would imagine.
Yeah, and going back to what Nick said, it's all about it's like studying for a test. It's all about like the pre-production is like all the writing you get done, all the small details that you can tighten up. But the amount of work you put into studying for a test is going to probably mean you're going to do better on the test. So Same with going to the studio. Let's say you book, I don't know, like 120 hours of studio time or 200 hours of studio time or whatever. The more pre-production you do, the more homework you do ahead of time, the better you're going to be able to spend your time, the further your dollars going to spend.
So it's almost like training for like an event, like an athletic event, like a race or something like that. You know, you got to be on point when it comes to the actual event day. But the more you can do beforehand to prep for it, that makes it a little bit easier and makes your dollars stretch a bit in a good way.
Right.
Yeah. Did he freeze?
No. Actually, this is probably a good move on your part, Craig. We're actually going to take a break for a moment, guys. We will be back shortly, though.
Sure. Awesome. Sounds good.
All right. So,
hold on.
Airheads, they're out of control.
We're the Kids Club kids, we just wanna have fun. The Kids Club kids doing big is number one.
The Burger King Kids Club, where it's cool to be a kid.
Once again with Burger King Sports, here's Steve.
As you can see, I'm here with the Kids Club All-Stars, sports toys featuring the Kids Club characters. You can collect all 5, one with every kid's meal, only at Burger King, where the Kids Club is a winning team. The Burger King Kids Club. I love this place.
All right, we are back. Still with Crashing Atlas. This will be Paul and Nick. So
we got it right.
One more time. So yeah, one of the questions that I had before we were gone. The original lineup of your band had a different singer, and it was good music, but the new album, which you guys have just recorded, is a good deal heavier to me. It's definitely got what I would say is more heart, honestly.
Yeah, thank you.
So how was it more fun to play? It had to have been more, I would think it was more fun to play.
Absolutely. When we like first sat down to like write the album, I know like, so me, Doug, and Paul are huge like hard rock, you know, and Marina too as well. We all listen to a little bit of everything, but I think sitting down, we were just like, you know, we wanted to have a little bit more intensity in the new music. We wanted it to be like less synth driven and more guitar driven. And actually a lot of it stems, so I think when we brought Paul on board, like Paul's a powerhouse drummer, like, and let me make you blush.
Stop it.
You know, it's like when you got Steph Curry on your team, you got to give him the ball. You know, you got to let him do his thing. You know, and Paul's been sinking threes.
Yeah, and you know, Steph Curry is a close personal friend. Yeah, no, and
being on my next question, Steph Curry.
Going back, going to what Nick said, it's all you know, we all have a bunch of different influences, and you know, the previous lineup, they definitely, you know, and there's nothing wrong with them at all. They had more probably of like a pop influence, and as Nick said, it's very synth heavy.
I mean, there was a
still
heavy-ish feel to it.
We made sure that when we were writing, we all did have a vision. We all do have more you know, slightly heavier influences in, you know, rock and metal, different alternative music, but we also did we had a vision, and we wanted to make it more aggressive, more hard hitting, a little heavier, but we also still wanted to stay true to, you know, the Crashing Atlas sound. We didn't want to sound like
the polished
right
sound.
We wanted to have a polished sound. We did want to include some synth. We did want to we wanted this to be an evolution in like a new direction, something that old fans would enjoy, and then that would grab new fans. And you know, that's how we ended up with this, you know, with the product that we have.
Mm-hmm.
I think you nailed your idea. I think you nailed what you
definitely did.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, we did it. Like, go.
You actually deserve the fist bump. You definitely deserve a fist bump.
Can I get another one?
Oh yeah.
Don't go for three.
We're also fist bumping for our members that are not here right now. You know, they're very part of this.
Yeah, you guys also, like, and as far as your new singer goes, when we were on break, you mentioned, or you referred to her as a powerhouse as far as her vocals go, and it is. I mean, legitimately, once again, I mean, not to keep boosting the damn song, but Christ, I mean, she belts that shit out.
Her delivery, like, it's funny for going into the album. I think anyone that knows Marina will be like, oh, she loves like a lot of like pop vocals and stuff, and that's kind of like Crashing Out. I think when Marina joined and we started writing, we got to see more dimensions of her voice that I don't think maybe people were aware of. Like, so songs like Graveyard, she can get like real kind of earthy and whispery and have that kind of like mood to her voice. And then songs like The Only Ones, she can be like aggressive and intense and in your face. And then you have songs like Nothing Left where she'll just soar. And I think it gives like an identity to each one of the songs, and having a singer that can do that. And as writers, it's like having just so many tools you can work with. It's incredible. Every time we get to be on stage and we get her voice like in our in-ears and we hear her, it's like it's truly a gift.
Right. And even more props to her is off this it's not an album on our album, it's a single. We released a cover of This Is Halloween. And that was super challenging, super technical. And especially on the vocal end, if you've ever heard the real version, it has like 15 different people all from the movie. There's key changes. And so, she had to be able to, it was just her on vocals, and we actually had our own voices sprinkled in a little bit, some screams here and there, nothing too great. But she had to be able to modify her voice in different ways while
sound like a whole village of people,
right? While to be a whole village of people while still singing the correct notes with the correct tone and everything. And it was really fun. Actually, we were all kind of sitting in the room, like, working with her, on the vocal direction. Hey, we want you to sound like this. We want you to sound like this. And you can really hear throughout the song all the different things going on.
Yeah, she has so much diversity in her voice that I think anyone that's listened to that song or listened to Black Sky Sunrise, like if you didn't know her name before that, you're coming out and you're like, okay, she can, any style you need, she can rock it.
Yeah, simply put, most people can't sing that song the way she does it. It's just she's did a phenomenal job of pulling that thing together. And we're before we did that cover, we definitely had like a little bit of anxiety. We're like, okay, are we going to be able to pull this thing off? And
we love it song.
Yeah, and we wanted to also make sure the song was instrumentally was technical, and it goes back to what we were saying. We wanted to be, we still wanted to keep synth in our album. We also wanted to make sure that we were playing our instruments.
Yeah.
When people see us live, it's like, yeah, there might be like a little bit of synth, but we want people to be like, oh, these guys are playing the music. This isn't just some lip sync battle.
Yeah, we're not like pretty faces holding our guitar.
You're actually well aware of what you're doing.
Yeah,
that is.
Like songs like Kerosene were fun like that. Like that's such a guitar heavy song.
There's almost no. Yeah, that's really.
It's once again though. I mean, that is a lead that'll pull you in.
Oh, thank you.
Back to the balance. I mean, the melodies running through that. I mean, getting a metal song or any type of heavy song with a decent melody, it happens, but I feel like a lot of times it's by accident. This felt wholly intentional.
Yeah, we put a lot of time and energy and effort into melodies as a whole. When I want to say probably 70% of our time in the studio, we're just focusing on refactoring melodies and making everything sound tight and complete. And I know most bands are like, oh, we spend so much time in this studio focusing on that. Like we are dedicated to trying to find like the perfect melodies, and almost any song that you heard on that album, there's a good chance we went through 30 ideas before that to get where we are. And
it sounds like it definitely sounds like it.
Justice to the songs and our fans and the people that especially doing like the Indiegogo. We wanted to make sure that going in, we were delivering a product that we were happy and satisfied with, and we thought represented us as a band.
Yeah, we had a hierarchy in terms of process and direction. The number one most important thing at the top was melody, and if the melody wasn't, like, let's say we had the perfect lyrics, but it made the melody worse. Nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
And so if the melody wasn't good, we weren't moving forward. We couldn't create a good melody. Scrap the idea, scrap the song if we need to.
Yep.
But we really held true to that. We like to think we did a good job on that.
I think you did. Yeah. I just personal opinion. I 100% believe you did.
I like it too.
I think it's okay. I like what we did.
I am also happy saying that I have just my own ass playing.
No, and big props to our producer as well, Felix. He did a great job, kind of, keeping us in line with that. Yeah, and sometimes we would create like a cool melody, and you'd say, you know what, like that is cool, but what if you just simplify it?
Yeah. And
now we're like, oh, like that works, and that's how. And he really helped out with like the chorus of our song called "Wake Up."
Mm-hmm.
Even live. Like I remember Marina coming in with an idea and just being like, awesome, except changes one thing, simplify it. And now that's what we have. And it's funny because now when we sing it live, Marina sings it the way she came with it. Oh, she now adds her embellishments back in.
Yep.
So which is right, who knows? Both would be fine, honestly.
Yeah, fun song to play live.
Yeah. So that was there was actually during the break, you guys mentioned keeping your songs named in specific ways to avoid screwing with the possible lyrics. This was not at all, by the way, an original question, but I found it that interesting.
Oh, awesome.
So, I mean,
yeah, so we have different working titles, as Nick mentioned in the break. It's just like we create a because we're like, if we're working remotely online, we're saving files. We actually have to like label it as a certain name. And then we have like a shared thing online where we post it, and you have to select which song. So we have to select the title. Yeah, and so we'll choose these random obscure names. Sometimes it has something to do with the track, but usually not. Like Nick sometimes uses like a random word generator, and it'll create the word like tennis ball, and tennis ball will be the name of the song or something like
that. Yeah. So part of the reason we do that is our kind of process, at least right now, is we tend to do a lot of we try and create like the bones of an instrumental song to write around first. And a lot of times Doug and I will kind of hop on a call and start that process out. And after we have something ready that we think is decent, we want to bring to the team and be like, hey, here's kind of the bones we have on this. We have no idea what it's going to be about vocally at the time. Sometimes certain songs will invoke a certain mood, but we want to make sure that we don't kind of poison the well with whatever we're thinking. So lyrically, Marina does a lot. She definitely does well the majority of the lyrics. And if we went in with a song called I don't know, bloody kneecap fist punch or something like that, I think she would write some aggressive lyrics on it.
No, that's a song about mermaids.
Yeah, so I'm talking about
mermaids.
Right. So we wanted to kind of keep it as neutral as possible, so it didn't poison the well with anything. And some of our working titles were like Big Riff, which was a song that had a pretty big riff. We had a song called New Dance. We had a song called Dance that was dancey, and then we ended up rewriting it, so we called it New Dance. Or
we had a song called it was called Side Stick, which is like the click when you do it on the snare drum, but click click click. And part of the reason they did that is because like they originally the bridge was written and there was just a little but with like a side stick instead of a snare. And then eventually in the studio, we decided that bridge was bad, so we deleted that.
Yeah.
And now the song was called Side Stick, but there was no side stick. Yeah. So that song later became something called The Only Ones.
It's really cool that there's that much freedom, or at least that much openness to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Which is great also. To be able to turn something like that into a plus is a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because this was born out of recording and sending parts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
it's one of the things that we were everybody did a good job of. So we are all very picky and perfectionists. So in a sense, it would slow things down, but at least to me, it was generally worth it. Look, if you spend 1,000 hours to make a song 0.1% better, no, it's not worth it. But if you spend an hour to make something 10% better, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we would because we were so picky, it made it really hard for an idea to get through. We all had to like kind of agree on it. And it was, if someone didn't like it, they had to really explain it. And you can change people's thoughts, or just a lot of the times we would spend just listening, be like, okay, this is good, but what the hell is missing? What is missing? Mm-hmm. And we would add layers and layers and layers. Then once again, when Sam came in and mixed it, that's when he made everything really come to life. And he would get rid of the extraneous layers, bring forward the ones that needed to pop out a bit more.
And along with all of our musical tastes, like we all listen to absolute polar opposite types of music at times. We like there's stuff we all listen to that we all enjoy, but when it comes to like our personal music tastes, like some of us are all over the place. And I think to bring an idea forward to make everyone happy, including the producer we're working with, it's definitely like a large effort. But I think like when you get something that everyone's like, yeah, this is good, we know we have something solid. At least we think we do.
Yeah. Right.
And
we hope we do.
Definitely how it turned out from the stuff I was listening to.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you.
So yeah, also something we were talking about on the break. I'm to preface this for anybody watching it. When I started looking you guys up on YouTube, as I've referred to it several times as going down the Breaking Atlas rabbit hole, it ended up messing with my YouTube algorithms in a way that it wasn't unpleasant, but it was definitely unexpected. It became an entire thing about female-fronted heavy band. Mm-hmm. And suddenly every female-fronted heavy band that has existed in the past 20 years was all over my YouTube.
Yep.
Which is not a bad thing. It's a great way for some bands to get exposure. But from my standpoint, you guys didn't sound like a lot of the bands that they were pulling up. You know, mm-hmm. I mean, I mentioned Evanescence in particular. Paramore, like I said, I could see some parallels there, but not in a well, not parallels is the wrong way to put it. I could see some influence, mm-hmm. But not Evanescence, not a lot of the stuff that popped up. And I would like, how does it? If the original incarnation was a female-fronted rock band, the second incarnation, or at least the current incarnation, is also a female-fronted rock band. What about, like, do you feel like you've sort of been slighted? Because that's the way it felt to me with the comparisons.
I feel like sometimes with the comparisons, like all of us listen to, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's female fronted or not, all of us listen to everything. And some of the bands you listed, like, yeah, we are big fans of Evanescence. And I know Marina's personally a huge fan of like Paramore, and all of us are, but there's so many bands outside of there, like whether it's like Breaking Benjamin or like Shinedown or other artists that we all take huge influence from. Like, I think one of the biggest influence from Marina, she's a huge My Chemical Romance fan. And I think when you add in some of that,
I can see that now that you've said it, but I wouldn't have seen it from YouTube.
Yep. And it's, I definitely think sometimes there's almost like this weird subgenre that'll be assembled on just female fronted. And I think it's like, with what we're doing, it's like we're not even like really focused on sounding like certain artists just with certain singers. I think we're all just sponges of just all music in general. And I think everyone always says, what is the Crashing Atlas sound? And I'm like, it's kind of hard to put your finger on, because it's like we all pull influences from all these different places. And it's, you know, you never know what you're going to get with our personal tastes.
Right. And I think it's one of the reasons it works well for us is we all, you know, listen to a lot of music. We all have different tastes in music, but there is like, you know, if you like look at the Venn diagram of all four pieces, there is like an overlap where all of us do kind of agree. And we hear some kick-ass hard rock. We're like, yep, I like this. You like this? You like this? Yep, we like this. And then you take all the extra things like I mean I like Polyphia. Nick likes Polyphia. I don't know if Marina listens to Polyphia, but like
not maybe as much as me and you,
right? But she listens to Christina Aguilera and Lady Gaga, like huge powerhouse pop influences with like amazing vocals, and then like, you know, the Architects and Breaking Benjamin, and
Guns N' Roses and stuff.
Right, and these are all bands that, you know, we like, or we like certain songs of those, but it's all like having the differences. We all have something in common. We all have different tastes in common, or like we all have different tastes, and it can help us. It can help us draw a lot of influence. It can help us with our creativity. I'm, you know, often listening when we're writing. If we're stuck, I'm also like, often like, okay, what does this sound like, or what songs have I been listening to, and then I see if I can take something to spurs, you know, get something in my brain, or
there's something.
Or maybe I like slap Nick in the head. I'm like, Nick, listen to this song. Listen to this song, like this song. You hear it looks like that, right? Okay, go, dude, write something, man.
Yep.
God, just write something, Nick.
I get that a lot.
I just think it's what you guys have put together is a wonderful combination of whatever it is that influences you.
It's
relatively engaging. It'll suck you in.
Sugar, spice, everything nice, and then some breakdowns, maybe, you know. Yeah.
That's right. You mentioned breakdowns. I mean, I've got, once again, over in my notes, I've got a question mark next to HC influences. Like, it occurred to me, some of the, like, especially, once again, Kerosene, the outro, like, there are some, it almost sounded like mid-2000s hardcore influences in the way that song is assembled. And, I mean, it's like, it's like, it's got a heavy feel to it, and like a good heavy feel.
So that song, Kerosene, I think I was working on the original demo of it. And I was listening to a lot of like Slipknot at the time, actually. And like,
see, that actually helped narrow it down too.
Yep. So I think we were definitely like, we were trying to write a breakdown. We wanted to do something that was, so the breakdown itself was like totally like, it's chromatic. There's notes out of the key there. We wanted something that was like mean and angry and just in your face. So I think Slipknot was definitely on our mind. Like when we were listening to that, like we were writing Kerosene, and that was kind of like, we wanted something to test the boundaries and had some like double bass, 16th note double bass in there, which was cool.
Yeah, the outro on it's great.
Yeah, the two are
really good.
That was something we decided to. Did we have that going into the demo? I can't remember.
You and I talked about it. Yeah, like the two songs that really influenced that bridge, and we ended up using the heaviest part of the bridge, which is the 16 note double bass part. We decided to use that as the ending as well, because we wanted the song to start with a kick in the teeth and end with a kick in the teeth. And so, like the two songs that really, at least in my opinion, seemed to influence that bridge the most were "Sulfur" by Slipknot and "Duality."
Duality. That's
See, once again, now that I've asked the question, I can see it.
Yeah, like the drums, like "Sulfur" has the big 16 note double bass drum part.
Yeah.
And then once again for the drums, the transition between the end of the bridge, you hear her. It's just a vocal break, then a tiny little bell splash. It's just a little cymbal fill, and I got that inspired from Joey Jordison as well as Chet Zaliga from Breaking Benjamin.
I can definitely see it. Like I said, this is the reason I'm asking.
Yeah, Joe does like a very actually his fill is cooler than mine, but he does a bell splash fill, and that's okay. I'm like, okay, what can I do that's a bell and a splash that fits? And then Chet Zaliga's like, you could take like Diary of Jane. You hear all the bells and whistles in that, and that's something that I really wanted to make sure got in the album.
And so something we were trying to do on the album as a whole too is we thought like with Ascend, it was a very kind of focused, hard rock, like some pop element album. When we were doing Black Sky Sunrise, we wanted to like take, start dipping our toe into other areas within like the rock scene, whether it's stuff that's more like even EDM focused on a song like Sanity and Madness, or stuff like Architects, like with some of those kind of like riffs and like drop Iggy tuning. And then maybe some 16-note double bass, and like there was like little things we wanted to try and like poke our toes in to say like, okay, what can we do to like spice these songs up a bit, and try out some new things we maybe wouldn't have, had the courage to do on past albums.
Right, like we wanted to add splashes of things that we are not. We're not a metal band, but we added splashes of metal in. We're not a techno artist.
Right.
But we had some synth builds.
But we had some synth in there, and it's because we like this stuff. I love EDM. Yeah. I love metal, but we're not a metal band. I'm not like some crazy metal drummer who can do who can just whip out a lead by
what you appreciate. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You're throwing something out like that's I can
all about tribute. Even if you just throw in like 2 seconds of something you love,
Well, something like it was even if it's like that, it was. Once again, as far as that song goes, which I believe I forced you to refer to it as your baby earlier. Like that song.
We have like 15 babies. Yeah.
Well, no, you got several babies. Active. As mentioned, and I will say it again. Every parent has a favorite. I don't care what they told you. Every parent has a favorite. That song, and like I said, I've got other songs that I was going to ask you about. I'm probably still going to, but it's that one in particular.
Please do.
Like you said, you're not a heavy metal band, but there is a heavy tone to what you do.
Yes.
Like there is an aggressiveness there that'll definitely catch you off guard. It's like I said, this is not. Once again, Craig and I, this is not normally a genre that would ever pop up for us, but I'm happy it did.
Yeah, we're happy it did too.
Like it is an enjoyable thing. Like it's the production value is great. The song is great. It's not a lot of times when you get certain types of music, it becomes predictable to the point where you just can't. Like you've heard the song. Even if you haven't heard the song, you've heard the song.
And it doesn't. I don't feel like Kerosene overstates its welcome as a song either. Like I feel like it's just kind of the perfect length. I think it's like right around.
I think it's 2 minutes 58 seconds, 2:57.
Which is also once again back to Craig and I. I like.
Yeah, we wanted to fit as much. we want Kerosene to just be that like perfect bite.
And even
not really, but it's okay.
Even after we write the song, I'm gonna give some kudos to our guitar player who's not here, Doug. He's in the hotel room now, but he's really good about when we're in the studio about like trimming fat off songs and trying to be more concise. And I think part of it's the age we live. We live in such like an age of constant media and things like that. There's the, you have the entire world library of music at your fingertips, where we don't want to like have any parts that are boring or overstay their welcome. We want it to feel like everything's fresh.
Yeah, Doug was Doug was like the number one voice of like, guys, this is good, but it's not good enough. Like we gotta scrap it. And almost every time we did it, we were just like, oh, do we have to scrap this? This is almost there. And then we scrapped it, and then we came with something better. And it was like, okay, you were right. Like, you were right. Yeah, you got it. You nailed that shit. So like, thanks for being that voice. It's because it's tough, especially once you sink, 10 hours into writing something decent. That sucks.
There's something called, we like to call it demoitis, where when you write a demo and you tweak it for so long, you get like weirdly attached to certain parts of songs. And I think this writing process kind of broke us out of that a bit, where we were able to kind of sit back and say, well, I wrote this, I like this part, it's real cool, but maybe it's not the right fit. And that happens to all of us throughout the writing process.
Side kind of a thing, Metallica and Justice for All, seminal album, right? I mean, everybody is sure they enjoy it. I swear there were the roots of like 50 songs on that album. And they just combined them and turned them into, Injustice for All, which is great. It turned out really well, but I feel like they could have literally gotten like 3 albums out of just the material on that alone. Expanded as opposed to
riff.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it came out great. I mean, I'm not gonna bitch about Metallica anything, with the exception of Load or Saint Anger.
Love me some Saint Anger.
That snare tone.
I like to so their bassist, dude. I mean, like the replacement bassist, not Newstead, but Trullo, I believe.
Robert.
Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, so used to play for Infectious Groove, and that dude's fucking incredible. He was really.
Do you remember what wowed them in the audition for him? The audition included the song "Battery," which like he did with his finger. Right? Yeah, they said they look and they're like, guys, he just did that with his fingers. He didn't use a pick. Like,
and his son.
I think he was quoted as saying a real bassist doesn't use a pick. I don't think that's necessarily true.
Real drummers don't even need sticks; they just use their brain and they just make it.
I just smack my face in the air over and over again and hope.
They're huge brains and just make the huge drummer brains.
Well, if you have an unleveled house, you can try and drool correctly.
You could. I could try. I know that when I'm in my house, I drool off both sides of my mouth.
Foundation is flat.
Oh, you can believe it. I live in a nice apartment.
Oh my God.
Love your apartment.
All right, so Craig, I think we are probably due for another break at this point.
Yeah.
So coming up in the third segment here, let me know. Or I guess I need to do the outro on that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back.
There it is.
Bye.
Nerf flying comes with a different skin, so it's easier to catch and throw. Hey, you want hot hands? You got hot hands.
Catch the 2 hot new Nerf flying colors and catch this.
Okay, guys, let's. You need a move. You need a hand. Got to be a man. This is Nerf flag football. It's tougher than touch.
Imagine this.
Deep in the jungle, you discover it, the Cobra Terradrome with gun emplacements almost everywhere and special base for refueling vehicles.
There it is.
The Cobra Terradrome is really incredible.
That's Dr. Mindbender. And now look, they've captured Flynn.
It's time to warn the Joes, but suddenly they launch the Firebat.
G.I. Joe, American hero.
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. Cobra Terradrome comes with Firebat and Pilot, other figures and equipment sold separately.
Joe, Joe.
All right, so we're back. Crashing Atlas. What have you guys got coming up in the future?
Well, starting, so as you may or may not know, we are currently on tour. We just had a great run of shows. Tomorrow we're going to be playing at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis with Rangline and Normandy. After that, we're going to be playing at Decibels on the Rocks up in Portage, Indiana. Our friend Joe there owns a place, great guy, excited to be up there. And then the final cherry on top of the tour, we're going to be playing Rockfest up in Cadott, Wisconsin. And the headliners are going to be Motionless in White, Mudvayne, Shine Down, Star Set, some big names on there. We're excited to like hang out.
That's like a full day thing going on there.
Oh, it's gonna it's gonna be quite a day.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a Skillet.
Skillet's gonna be there.
Skillet's another big one.
Yeah.
We're missing Hailstorm, Evanescence, Disturbed, Lamb of God.
They're playing the day before.
They're even Dead Man. Yeah, those are all the day before. But
well, I would imagine anybody that if it's a fest or a festival, like people bought like multiple day tickets for this. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Built-in audience, you gotta love that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, Saturday's a good day to have, which we're excited for. And then
once you're going to be playing like Friday morning when everybody's just getting
Sunday night, people are getting on the road.
Yep.
Everybody just woke up and is very angry. Please don't.
Yeah.
Excited to play some of these new songs for everyone. And then once we get back, I think we're going to be working on new material. So we're super excited for that, getting back in the writing process. Working on the next album, which we're stoked for.
Do you think, like, after having done the current album the way you did it, are y'all going to keep doing it that way?
So, funny story. We've been having conversations about. We kind of have these things called like a retrospective we do after the album, and where we sit down and we talk about what we think about. Well, we could have done better. Any lessons learned? I think the meat and potatoes of how we do things is kind of there. I think this album really showed us kind of where we fit and best in the writing process for each member and how to work with each other. And I think after how well the songs turned out, I think it really reinforced that trust we have with each other as a writing core, that, we know we're going to bring solid, ideas to the table. And I can speak for everyone where we say, if every single one of us weren't involved in the process, the album Black Sky Sunrise wouldn't have been as good as it was. And I think having that faith in your team and the trust in the writers around you really makes it go a long way. So I think we're going to be doing another similar process. We're hoping that we can do more in-person writing and jamming on stuff. Like something we'd like to do is before we go into the studio, actually play the songs a couple times and not go in because, the COVID restrictions that we couldn't do for the whole summer before. But be able to go in and, feel good on them and not have Paul have to sight read drums and just on the spot from memory.
Let me put on my thinking glasses and respond.
I was hoping for this. Here it is.
Those are good looking.
I agree with Nick.
You heard it first here, folks.
I was, the thing, what you just said reminded me of something I was really curious about. What streaming platforms are you guys available on currently?
Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're any streaming platform where our distributor puts it pretty much everywhere. Apple Music, I think there's an Amazon Music, Pandora,
iTunes. You've been going Bandcamp lately, find everything,
but if you listen to us, I'm sure anyone that is familiar with the music industry knows how tough it is for artists these days with streaming. Even if you're not able to buy merch or stuff like that, the biggest thing you can do to help a band out is just share our music. Because the way the algorithms are right now, it's so difficult to get your music in front of people without having to sink a ton of money into marketing. And the most valuable thing you can do to support up and coming artists is show your friends, if you're at work, at a bar, play it on the music there, share it on social media, whatever you can do, because that really makes the difference for us, to sharing it.
Absolutely. And we talked about this on the break. This was actually about your merch. Websites where your merch is available.
Yeah, if you just go to crashingatlas.com, all of our links are there. It's got links to our in-stock store and other designs that are made to order and send out. If there's something that you want or that you're like, hey, we'd love to see you have these kind of design, shoot us an email. I think it's info@crashingatlas or crashingatlas?
info@crashingatlas.com.
info@crashingatlas.com. Shoot us an email. We'd love to hear what kind of merch you guys want to see, or if you want koozies or shot glasses or whatever. We just did lighters because some people were asking about them. We want to know what anyone wants to see on our merch store.
And if you want to reach out to us, hit us up on email, as you said, info@crashingatlas.com. You can message us on Instagram. Like we'll respond. Might not be that second. Maybe it will. Sometimes we respond immediately, sometimes a couple days, but we'll hit you back.
Yeah.
It's like all of you guys are constantly fielding them.
Yep. We're on all the major platforms. It'd really mean the world if you send us a follow and check our stuff out,
Yeah. Number one thing is sharing our music. That's the biggest thing we can ask for.
I'd order a scarf.
Scarf.
That's weird just because I live in Georgia and I think it would be hilarious.
Hey, you know what? We'll make you a scarf.
I like that.
You a scarf.
Repurpose our merch.
This looks like a T-shirt that was badly cut.
Are you okay with a used
wear it.
scarf?
Why does the scarf smell like armpits?
Yeah. There's mucus on the scarf.
You obviously don't know European scarves. All right, so we were also discussing during the break, and it was a random question, and I think it would be funny to do. Craig, I'm gonna leave this one up to you. A horror movie kills. It's not got anything to do with anything we've discussed, and that is also really funny to me.
I mean,
you go first on.
All right,
I'll tell you mine after.
You don't have to go top three. Give me like the number one.
Okay, you might hate me for this. So I really, if I took like 5 minutes to think, maybe I'd come up with something better. You're probably gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm doing it. It's the kill in Psycho.
Classic.
With
chocolate syrup.
With Vince Vaughn. So the newer.
No, actually, I'm a big fan of remakes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. The Vince Vaughn. So the second, Psycho, the original Psycho, but not the originals. I don't know if there's a Psycho 2 or not. I hope not.
It was like the shot-for-shot remake.
Right. So it's the second big scary kill. So the first one is
the shower one. Shower one.
The first one's the one in the shower. That's scary, of course. But then it's the one where the woman is coming up the stairs.
Down the stairs. Brilliant.
And you see, the camera angle is facing down the stairs, but you can also see the hallway at the top of the stairs right here. She's slowly walking up the stairs. Very slowly. The music is like the movie is all about the music. It wouldn't be scary without the music, right? And so the music is freaking me out. I remember this. This is one of the first 5 horror movies I ever saw in my life. I was probably 14 or something. Sitting in my friend's basement, she's walking up the stairs slowly. Then all of a sudden, crazy old lady Vince Vaughn sprints out the room. I remember, we've all jumped. I have never jumped so hard in my life. It felt like I jumped out of my skin. I remember to this day being like, I loved it. Now the kill itself was
I think it's for the overall vibe.
The thing is though,
this is stupid, but it's a setup.
It becomes a classic for a reason though, and that is a classic scene. I mean, that was a groundbreaker in the original.
Oh, insane!
I mean, just the fall down the stairs with the camera going. Yeah. That was an amazing cinematography.
Right. And you look back and you can see, I could see even while shitting my pants, scared, I could see how fake it was, but it was just it was the shock. I was like, cause my favorite, I don't love gore. As I get older, I get more fucking squeamish, but it's just things that scare you. Things that I watched so many horror movies where I kind of know what's about to happen. I know the tricks. I know that if I know she's about to look behind the door, slowly pulls back then she goes, boom, it's not there. She goes,
yeah, there you go.
Then she turns around and it's in her face. We all know that. We all know all the tricks. But that
we call it the bathroom mirror trick.
Yeah, bathroom mirror one.
Yeah.
I think my favorite would be, I think it was from John Carpenter's The Thing, where they do the resuscitators in and the thing opens up and gets the arms. Almost any kills from that movie were so good. That might be one of my favorite horror movies too. Is just The Thing, and it was all practical effects too, which I love.
It's a beautiful movie for that purpose. Carpenter. Well, I mean, Carpenter's good at what he does, anyways. But that particular movie, man, they broke the mold.
Oh, so
entirely.
Why can't I think of his name?
Terrible actor name.
It's gonna bother me.
We had Kurt Russell.
Russell. What a beautiful man. The beard on that. The mane, the lion's mane that man had.
It was good.
Kurt Russell.
All right. Oh, hey, speaking of which, randomly, side note, The Thing. Did you ever, all right, so when watching the original movie, have you ever read the internet theory about why everybody's dead?
You talking about how at the very end, hopefully not spoiling The Thing for anyone, where Are you talking about where the end where they actually think they were tricked him into drinking gasoline and they were,
which was one, yeah, that was actually part of it, but it was also Childress being what was his name? The dude was later in a bunch of different Carpenter stuff. But there was also the fact that when they were breathing, there's no mist coming out of his nose.
Yes, I heard about that too.
Yeah, like I watched it again recently because I didn't think it was true, man. It's true. It really is. Like it was very clearly telegraphed, which is amazing because as many times as I'd seen that movie prior to reading that randomly on the internet on a Facebook post, I never realized it.
It's like a 5,000 IQ play. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who did. Like somebody was seriously paying attention to something I know they've seen. Like, but just randomly, one day they were just like, you know what?
I want to rewatch that. Watch horror movies today.
Yeah, okay, if we were doing a top, actually, this is a relatively decent spin on this question. If you were only going to do a top one and it had to be from a relatively well-known horror movie, Craig, what would it be?
I'd have to go with the scene in The Strangers, the first one, when she has the shotgun and she barrels around the corner and shoots the guy's brother, like right in the stomach.
Yep.
It's so intense, and it like gave me a whole set of emotions. You know what I mean? Like
a set of emotions is a great way to put that.
I think talking about so many of the kills from like Final Destination we thought were pretty good.
All of them. The entire series, it's hard to put Goldberg machine set of movies.
When the kid got flattened by that pane of glass coming out of the dentist, that was probably the one I was like,
oh god,
that brings up. I can do a favorite recent kill too.
Yeah,
I just watched Trick. I think it was last night. It's a really great movie. And there's this one scene where he's got this big crane and it's like carrying this cross and he shoots it right through the window into this lady's head. It's insane.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a great movie.
There's a good YouTube channel if you like. It's called The Kill Count, which I like. I watch a lot of the episodes.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite YouTube channels where they break down like all the kills and like practical effects and everything. Oh, it's so cool. Shout out to that channel. It's much more popular than us.
Only for now. I think I truly believe you guys have something on your hands.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, once again, it's not something I'm not predisposed to noticing the mix of a song. That's not something that I do, but I did. Like it was the first thing that hit me, and it sounds good and full and right.
As musicians, that anytime you can like compliment the mix, even though it's something that we technically didn't do as musicians, it's like the most exciting thing for us because it's like I think when you're analyzing a mix like that, it shows like you're like listening to so many parts of the song, and like to me that like that's when the song is like finished. If the mix, it doesn't matter like about the parts if the mix is bad. If the mix is good and the parts are good, oh my gosh, that's like what I think lifts the song. Yeah. And for we were very, very OCD about what we wanted it to sound like, and to hear that kind of stuff really means a lot. So thank you.
I think also when it comes to mixing is I think one of the things that we really wanted to something that we hear from a lot of people is quote unquote your song is radio ready. And that's subjective, but at the end of the day, I think the mix is kind of like the most important part. Doesn't matter how good the song is, without Sam or mixer, it's like we wouldn't be getting that compliment ever.
Yeah.
And, we do want our songs on the radio. What band doesn't?
Yep.
So getting that mix nailed is honestly, I mean, of course, if the song sucks, it's almost, I'd say, equally as important as the song itself. It's getting the mix nailed.
And for how many times we've listened to like these songs, to hear it in that final state where the mix sounds good, it really feels good.
Yeah. I mean, I always like this. I mean, I remember hearing every single song, like just, professionally, like we have our demos where we hear it. And then when we finally got it pro recorded, I was like, oh, wow. But then I'm always like, wait, this is not even close to how the song, like I'm saying like, this sounds good. Like our boy Felix recorded, like, dude, this sounds good. Good job recording us, man. And then like it goes to the mixer and I'm just like, okay, I give up.
Yeah.
I give up.
They're wizards. Like I'm convinced Magic was.
I'm nothing without a mixer.
You've heard I would imagine you had to have heard the term GIGO, G-I-G-O.
Yep, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah. So the thing is, you can only mix something that is right to begin with. I mean, it's not. You can only do so much with something that wasn't right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
give our mixer
and raw went in correctly.
Yeah.
Win
Our,
because I mean,
our goal on the mixing side was to give Sam as much to work with as possible, give him DI tracks, give him all these individual layers, and just kind of let him do his thing. You know, that's why he's the big mixer and we're not, you know, let them work their magic. Give them all the tools they need, give them as many layers as possible, and, you know, let him kind of bring the life to some of these parts. And I thought he did such a fantastic job.
He definitely did. I think we are about to wrap this up. I've got one thing to add in before you guys go one more time through merch, upcoming shows, and everything else. If I had to, I'm sorry, I've been thinking about this too because ADD, but if I had to pick a relatively well-known horror movie with an absolutely incredible kill that stuck with me, The Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
Just because the scissors in the hallway, which was anything, but man, that is one of the first jump scares I remember through the course of my life. And your reference to crapping yourself, man, I'm lucky I didn't.
If you're ever up in the, speaking of The Exorcist 1, I think it's one of the scenes where the really long stairway where they walk it up, outdoor stairways, I think was actually filmed in Washington, D.C. And we've driven by where that stairway is. And we're like, that's the spot. And then randomly on top of that too, I grew up near Frederick, Maryland, which is real close to Burkittsville, which if you're familiar with that, that's where the Blair Witch takes place.
Yeah, that's where our friend Derek is from, actually.
Poor town got inundated with people trying to find crap after that movie.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the parks love that.
I understand from what I was reading something online not that long ago, somebody was talking about the fact that after the Blair Witch was filmed, and of course the marketing for that movie was it's a true story, video found, blah, 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 blah. Yep. So the locals would intentionally screw with anybody coming in. So somebody had decided that it would be hilarious if there were movies based around the idea that it was not some supernatural terrible force. It was just really bored hicks.
Yeah.
In every movie. So like Texas Chainsaw, all of it. It's just a really bored hick.
Yep. Like behind every big movie, right?
There's behind everything. Like even Poltergeist. It was just the neighbors didn't want him there.
I'd love to wear Nick's skin.
No, thank you, bud. That's super nice of you.
You're welcome. You know you have to sleep in the same room.
Right? That's terrible.
I want to wear his skin.
What do you fit into?
Maybe, I don't know. You're kind of short.
Thanks.
All right. So you guys, one more time. What have you got coming up? What are the merch? Like what's the album name? Everything.
So we're Crashing Atlas. We had our album Black Sky Sunrise come out last year. We'd love you guys to check it out on any of the streaming platforms. We're currently on tour supporting that album. We're going to be playing at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis tomorrow. We're going to be playing at Decibels on the Rocks in Indiana the next day. And then we're going to be at Rockfest in Cadott, Wisconsin. We're going to come back, work on a lot more music for you guys. But if you really want to help us out, check us out at crashingatlas.com. We have our merch store on there. We have all our links. Follow us on all our social media. We'd love to talk with you guys. Shoot us a message. It'd mean the world to us. And if you do take the time to listen to us, we'll say a very sincere thank you. You know.
No, thank you guys legitimately for coming on. This was an absolute pleasure.
For sure.
Great to be able to pick your brain, incidentally.
Of course.
Enjoyed the hell out of that. You guys answered some serious questions I had.
Yeah, that
we got to do this.
Amazing questions. You guys are great.
It's our madness.
This is actually, you know, we do end up with repeat guests on a regular basis. You guys get some more spare time and some downtime. Maybe even if you're recording, you got a minute. Please come back. Let us know how things are going.
I got to come clean. We've been lying to you the whole time. Not a single honest word has come out of our mouth. My name isn't Paul. His name is Nick. My name is
This isn't even our band.
I'm actually taking that.
We're Russian operatives. We're here to take.
We were just watching Stranger Things.
Oh, God. Great show.
Yeah.
You did that well.
Real, thank you guys so much for having us. We appreciate it.
No, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time, especially in light of the schedule you guys have been on.
Yeah.
We definitely look forward to hearing from you in the future. I have no doubt that we will be hearing from you in the future.
Love that.
Thank you. So I guess on behalf of Geekden, Craig.
That's it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yep.